Welcome, everybody, to the Onward VR Master League Season 13, Week 1. My name's NightFiree with 2 E's. I'm joined by my co-caster, Jamie. Jamie, how are you doing this afternoon?
Very, very well. Thank you very much for asking, NightFiree. Looking forward to getting a bit of Onward action live this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, looking at today, what are you sort of anticipating in this today's sort of matchup with these two teams?
Well, we were having a quick look at the stats just before the start of this game, and it kind of looks like BRSEK having a newer roster this season for Season 12, considering the leader's been there since Season 9. So it's going to definitely mean that Oscar Victor Lima are going to have a little bit of a probably more back and forth from the side. Looking at this side, BRSEK have played this 29 times, but again,
wow,
you know, they've got this newer roster, so maybe that's going to just change things up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Partisan, the only one that's been around on BRSEK for that length of time, for that long time, and the rest of the squad's, like you said, relatively fresh. So we're kind of getting a look at some of the new, obviously a look at a new team. So we're kind of seeing what Season 13's bringing to the table in some ways, but also obviously what BRSEK is going to be, how they're going to be showing up here after finishing in that silver division at the end of Season 12. You know, are they looking to be on the hunt, so to speak, for gold? You know, we have a bit of different caster curses, I guess. I did my first match yesterday and had a great back and forth, a Mat 3 decider. That was super fun to watch. And you, on the other hand, have had I think blowouts for the most part. Teams kind of dominating one side of the scoreboard. So maybe we can put together our combined curses and at least get us a pretty solid game here this afternoon, which is what I am also anticipating as we are ready to get into the action. Take a look at the active rosters for the day there, and you can see we got Partisan, Mike, Zenoza, Papanias, and GDim over on BRSEK, and on Oscar Victor Lima we got Abato Uchiha, Avery, Jedi, Bubbleberry, and Bootyful. Love to see new teams come in here, but one of those names is familiar to me. Maybe it's because we have had an Uchiha. I think there's another Uchiha somewhere on one of these rosters, but yeah, I'm not seeing that history in the website. If you go over to vrmasterleague.com/onward, you can get all kinds of stats and data about these teams. You can vote on the connoisseur votes, being you sort of determining who you think is going to be a winner for each match, and that connoisseur vote history is tracked in a sort of ladder, if you will, where you know, you can try and have the highest guess rate of wins. And the connoisseur vote for this match is 28-13, so a little bit of a disparity there. I mean, just the other day I had a match that was 3-23, and that was the game that went to the best of 3. So, you know, the disparity isn't always right either. So, either way, excited to hop into this. We should be getting into the game soon here. Go ahead and give the go-ahead to these players just in case they were waiting on us. But, I mean, Jamie, any thoughts on where we're headed here? Our first objective of the afternoon, certainly not something that's going to be too wild, I would imagine. You know, a west spawn, and it seems we have had a technical disconnect there, so maybe that's what we're waiting on. I just got to sort out the tech side of things there. Once BRSEK have their 5th, hopefully we'll be going into the action. But I guess we didn't even talk about bans before we talk about the first objective here. I mean, what are your thoughts on the bans here this afternoon, Jamie?
Well, the first ban coming in from BRSEK is going to be Cargo. So one of the smaller, more easier maps for kind of newer teams to be able to work out and get some strats early on out the window. The other one being Suburbia, being the other kind of similar map to that. And Oscar Victor Lima have decided to ban Downfall, so taking one of the more intricate maps off the table there, which certainly will help them if BRSEK saw that as the kind of map, you know, let's take this newer team on there,
Right.
and potentially, you know, we could get that Marsok win and take that map. So definitely opens up a few choices. BRSEK having preferred Snow Peak quarantine in last season and most seasons before, so we may see them coming out as well tonight.
Yeah, it's Downfall is definitely, I think it's a ban out of, like you said, probably a ban from them out of weakness. They probably don't feel comfortable on that map, would be my guess, because Downfall is a map that really does take some good team practice and a good understanding of the meta of the map, because there's so many unique strats in that map that have developed over time where you can really surprise cap in a second. You know, you can have kills the first 20 seconds of a round. There's a lot of possibilities that can, you know, to sort of abuse a newer team there. So makes sense that it's banned. And our first map, as we I've already saw, is Bazaar, and our first objective spawn is going to be over on that west side. We have everyone in the lobby, so we should be getting started here shortly. And again, just looking forward to kind of two fresh teams getting to play each other for the first time, and we get to see what Oscar, Victor, Lima are bringing to the table. I always like to see the new teams. You know, how much are they communicating? How much are they strategizing? Have they really been practicing in this off season as a squad to sort of figure out these strategies? These are all the questions that I love to ask. And I love to see the answers to when we get to watch new teams.
Yeah, right, you are with that. And, you know, these new teams also, they definitely bring some, every now and then, they just bring that new play, that new strat to the table that you've just never quite seen before. You know, we've played or casted games for quite a while,
yeah,
and you like to think, I've seen everything, there's nothing you could really do that I don't know about, but no, bam, straight away, there's something new there. So that is the benefit to,
yeah,
well, the most biggest positive to the new teams.
Yeah, absolutely. For the folks tuning in too, you know, sometimes you get to see a position that no one's ever taken before because they're a new player and they kind of get that new perspective on a map. So it can also maybe even learn a thing or two if you are a veteran and add it into the arsenal of ever-growing strats in the game of Onward. It seems always seeing something fresh or something new each season, and pretty much looking forward to how Season 13 shakes up and how these teams develop their strats over time. It's going to be a very exciting season. I feel like Season 12, we really saw a good increase in organized play, you know, even at a lower tier. And so I am sort of anticipating that as well here this afternoon. Not sure what the holdup is, so I do apologize for us not getting into the action, but everyone's in lobby ready to go, Jamie. I don't know, maybe they're just teasing us.
Oh, there we go. There's the countdown. They're ready.
Just have to complain enough, and then I'll eventually start the dang game. Into the action we go, though. Oscar, Victor, Lima on defense for their first round of their first game in the VR Master League. Let's see how they do as we dive in to the action. I already heard get into your spots, so that's interesting to me. They have some practice spots, C4 placement going out as well.
Yeah, I feel like Season 12, we definitely saw a lot more utility usage than in most other seasons, especially with the Flash.
Yeah.
That's it, that came out so much. So these C4 strats and these Flash strats, it's definitely the way that the game's going.
Over on BRSEK, we have the Marsok team advancing in full force from the south. No split or cross over to that north side yet, at least, and Partisan taking up a risky position into that window. Oftentimes you run into a lot of traction here in this south street as you try and cross, but doesn't find any resistance and may very well advance up into that second floor. Avery, I don't think, has a line, and Uchiha isn't looking just yet. They're all sort of holding later angles, waiting for this BRSEK team to push into them, it seems. That does have its, you know, risk rewards, obviously, but I don't know. It's dangerous to let a Marsok team get too close to this objective with enough smokes and utility.
Yeah, right, you are there, and what we're seeing here really is kind of one of the more common defenses for this map, or for this objective, should I say. Avery kind of covering that western courtyard, Obito covering the cross from the south. So it's a very powerful position as well. So I feel like these guys maybe have been watching the streams in the off season and or just on the run up to becoming the team and using some of those positions now.
Yeah, and I gotta wonder, again, what the work has been in the off season. Have they been scrimming? Who have they been scrimming? Have they been practicing against skilled teams? All sorts of questions that do kind of come into mind. And Avery kicking off things for OVL with their first kill. Partisan starts pumping rounds from that 2-story, but can't quite get the angle they need. Meanwhile, Obito trying to deny the south side entry across the street into Bubble Avery's position. Partisan eventually finds Avery down behind those crates, but Obito and Bubble now going to be the point defense for Oscar Victor Lima.
Indeed, and I think the important thing now really is for Jedi or Beautiful to realize what they're doing on their positions and the positioning of BRSEK now. So they're not coming from the north. Are they going to adjust and come around and get the revive onto Avery and then kind of bolster that western approach as they realize that that's where BRSEK are going to be coming from? Bubble Barry, though, lots of lasers trained on him, making a lot of noise, and Mike is very well aware of this, but he's not going to be able to cross whilst Bubble Barry is there with the backup from Obito. So it's great to see that early on this new team being able to just provide each other the cover and choke points for other teams to be able to not just easily walk into the objective.
Yeah, they really do have a nice cross coverage here on this south side. And Barry, again, like you said, he doesn't need to peek out farther than he is. He can really hold this deep angle. And unless they get a nade around that corner, Barry is pretty safe. But that is sort of the standard way to root out this back position. We do see that res come in on the backside there, the rotation from Jedi to get Avery. And now this Oscar team back up to 5 in the advantage with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, they're gonna get picked off though for that revive. Partisan wanting to take down at least one person, so Avery has rotated into a good position, and I think the kill count may probably be off now if Partisan didn't spot that revive. Mike finishing off Avery though, and again it could be a detriment because of that revive with the kill count there. They may go in at this a little bit too early, and that could be a bit dangerous. Partisan and kind of pushing in now. G-Dim with a brilliant shot onto Obito, opening up that southern cross now. As BRSEK team getting ready to make the approach now.
Almost a team kill there. Shots did come in. Bubble tries to deny entry from the south. Everyone from OVL getting picked off in the final minute, and now it's all up to Beautiful to deny the cap, trying to shut down Partisan as utility comes in, using that red truck as a means of sort of coverage, and realizing that they don't have any coverage here on the south. They do rotate onto the backside. GDM and Mike are ready and waiting for Booty here, so going to be a tough battle back, but they are into a corner where they can at least defend from the closest duo advancing up to the objective. Mike goes down there.
Great pick, but this objective wide open at the moment, and we can hear the pre-fire coming out, which sometimes signifies that a push is going on. This is definitely one of the harder objectives to defend on your own. Partisan making the push in, and unfortunately, I think Beautiful, the experience coming in, Beautiful not checking this. The cap is going to come out, and he's going to watch this back and realize. And I guess that's what these casts really are for there. You need to be rotating round and covering so many angles on this objective.
Cross across the street, unfortunately, goes undetected. Their cover behind that crate didn't give them vision for that street cross, and BRSEK managed to take the cap with Partisan punching in the code. A 2-0 lead into their hands to kick things off. Exactly how you want to start your MARSOC round. Doesn't get much better than that, and well, it was looking good there for a while. OVL starting with that first kill, and then really just being patient, but those final moments, those final minutes, you do see that a little bit of the impatience come in, and some players pushing when they don't necessarily need to. And you know, if they had, I think if Avery had just stuck to the behind their crate in the alley, and you know, they had gotten that res, and you know, there's a safer way to cross that street. You go around the wall, you know, we see that death here in the middle of in the corner of that north street. If they had gotten the res and then just rotated farther around the north side around the wall, that's your full cover to make that cross back to the other side and relatively undetected. So, you know, a couple of things to be learned there from OVL on their rotations as well, where they really could have potentially saved this round. But either way, good to see from a new team that level of organization, and it makes me interested to see how their Marsoc rounds are going to look. Also good to see from BRSEK the patience, and you know, they knew where that final OVL defender was, and they didn't take those shots. You know, they let Partisan cross the street and cap. That's a nice move as well, coming in from them to have that discipline to get that 2 points.
Brilliant analysis, really, and we are now going to go into that second round. But yeah, like you say, having that having knowledge on, from the revive and maybe bolstering up that western approach there would have been the safer option to take. But coulda, woulda, couldas, and let's say, you know, cast will show you that, and it'll be great to see the next time they take that how they decide to approach and defend that.
You okay, B?
OVL having the southern spawn now, or well, the southeast spawn, so they're going to be a lot closer, and opting going to have a different kind of approach this time, whereas BRSEK decided to push very heavily on that south and southwest area. Oscar Victor Lima going to take the Bazaar route, Partisan taking the Coyote, and the Jedi's not prepared for this at the moment, so could be a pretty early pick here.
I think Jedi got past. I think Jedi got past Partisan's view there. Maybe if Partisan shifts here, they will be able to catch Jedi out, but they're not going to peek up and over. Jedi may be able to get inside. Avery's here. Partisan doesn't see Avery or hear the footsteps. For a second, it looked like Partisan was checking, but Avery almost surprised that Partisan was there. They took their time to get that kill, but they get it. And another good start for OVL. A big kill, too. Partisan being that main element of this team, you know, it very well could throw off the coordination of BRSEK, and we may see an opportunity for OVL to rebound with the cap of their own here.
Yeah, just a fantastic pick, really, and very well played by Avery, getting those quick shots and taking out the Coyote. Certainly will open up this western approach, giving them a little bit of time to catch the breath, but Papanius going to take out Jedi as he peeks this corner, and leaving Avery on his own, and with a little bit of backup from Beautiful eventually once they come into here. And unfortunately, no one going to see where those gunshots came from, so I feel like potentially maybe there could be another pick for Papanius there.
Yep, got to be careful advancing their way through here, but they also are still working in that south side. You can see Uchiha and Bubble working over across the south. Mike picks up a nice kill prone, denying Avery advancement up the stairs, and that's a good couple of kills coming in. Still, though, on objective, look at how close Bubble and Obito have managed to work their way up. Zanoza doesn't see this rotation here, and Obito is inside Blue Room. They can easily threaten Papanius if they rotate even a little bit out of their position.
Yep, this is a fantastic movement, really. If Obito can just hold this position for a little bit. They've got 3 minutes 30.
Yeah.
Papanius may come into his sightline to open up that pick and then give Beautiful a little bit more of a clearer run. But this is where the communication and the map knowledge and team knowledge comes in. Bubble Barry also working up through the mini-market, going to cause a little bit of a distraction there for Zano. Potentially could be a cap come in, but Papanius and GDIM going to put a shutdown to the approach there, leaving Bubble Barry on his own.
The worst case scenario there. Papanius doing the quick swing and finding that kill inside Blue Room. Unfortunate timing, and that's really what Onward is. It's all about the timing. Can you sneak through if you're going to go for a play like this? And in a 1v4 now, Bubble finds themselves in a bit of a jam. And yeah, they just got denied entry into that mini bazaar. Plain and simple, you know. Mike with the coverage, Papanius with the coverage. GDIM in the back corner catches Bubble trying to cross the street, and that flash wasn't far enough to get out GDIM. BRSEK now advance up 3-0. But you take a look at the KDs, at least OVL have found a couple of kills. 2 for Avery, 2 for Booty. Again, they've started their rounds well. Just haven't been able to bring it together and utilize that advantage that they've managed to get.
Yeah, it's tough to see really, because like you say, you know, they're having these brilliant starts to the rounds, and it just seems to come down to the last 3-4 minutes where it then starts to kind of become a little bit more disjointed, and maybe if they spend a little bit more time to check their angles, check the corners, and talk to each other a little bit more, then they may see those plays continue and go to fruition. But still, it's good to see this brand new team kind of still having those you know, early moments of great plays and getting themselves into positions. It certainly sets them in a good stead against, you know, another team that may be just as new as them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're certainly looking good as a new squad, and you know, these issues that you have later in the rounds is par for the course for every new team. You know, it's one of the harder things to really, not even for new teams, for any team to execute in the final 3 minutes of the round is, or just execute the play when you try and push towards the objective. That is the true challenge of the game. You know, that is what separates you from being you know, that's what gets you up into the divisions. The better you are at that skill set, at crashing the objective together as a team in a coordinated fashion, the higher you go up in this league. And you know, it is one of the harder things to get when you're a new team too, because like you said, it takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of rehearsing and a lot of coordination, understanding. You know, I know. My teammate likes to move at 3 minutes on this spot when we're on this location because we played it 17 times. You know, like that's what separates some of these teams from the others. And you know, we are seeing a little bit better execution from. I mean, obviously better execution from BRSEK in the back half of these rounds, and I think that is their season 12 experience showing here. And so, I'm intrigued to see how OVL handles being on the back foot now. This also isn't their map pick, so you know, where we go to map 2 is a question, and how does that round go? You know, already sort of thinking ahead there, but we're not out of the woods yet. OVL still has one more defensive round ahead of them. BRSEK on the attack, and we'll see if BRSEK are going to push this 5-0 or if OVL will manage to put up one round here at the very least on Bazaar.
We are going to go into the Eastern Tank objective, which I think is a little bit more of a middle-of-the-ground kind of objective. You know, you just got to hunker down and get some good sight lines onto the tank and just deny any cross, any entry. And I think it's one of those objectives also where you need to show that discipline to be able to hold those positions and not go hunting down for kills. BRSEK going to get that longer range spawn. Vito, should I say, in a great position to be able to watch straight down the line. Does get a pick. Mike, though, unfortunately going to get a pick. Vito only down, though, so the revive could come out from Jedi or Bubble Barry, but it's going to be a little bit of a difficult cross, as Mike will be watching for that.
I think they went down and then disconnected. Someone DC'd here, so they're down to now 3 for BRSEK. But yeah, I guess that res is still available. It's not, I doubt it will come in. Little trade here on the north side. Leaves us with just 2 of BRSEK, OVL just 3. A very quick first minute here. There comes the confirm from Partisan. And it is just this duo trying to push down Main Street to get to the objective.
In these 2 players, though, they are the most experienced for the BRSEK team, so it's still gonna be up in the air as to how they're gonna get there. Partisan having, you know, pushed up quite far, and he's in a position really that he could probably start pushing, whereas Mike needs to now provide that backup. But Partisan opting to go through the blue room and potentially see what he can see there, as usually you will have somebody sitting in the southeast corner there. And he's going to be very well aware of that, so knows that he needs to check that and he'll make that cross. Well, I guess he's just going to be waiting now for Mike to meet up with him, really, with 4 minutes remaining. They've got quite a while, and they're able to kind of check around a lot of angles.
Very early action leaves the duo with a lot of time, and with that time, they may be able to force the relatively new OVL out of maybe some rotations, out of discomfort with Barry here swinging out. They very well could get their, if they're not careful, you know, toes shot off by Mike here. Mike is dialed in on this crate. Barry, meanwhile, hasn't really been checking Main Street or been concerned about the objective side of things. They've been really dialed in on the east, which is important. They need to make sure that no advancement comes in from the east, but I guess they don't know that the trade happened on that side. So I think Barry still just cautious after hearing gunshots about a potential threat there. There's the shots that come in from Mike as Barry does overextend their cover. Now it's a 2v2.
That's the tough one, like we mentioned earlier with that discipline. You kind of just had to hold that push to make sure nobody came out, sit behind that cargo crate and just relax, really. So Beautiful now needs to be able to react to this and rotate in on the objective, or otherwise we are potentially going to see another cap if Jedi goes down. He is in a great position, though, to be covering the objective, but if somebody was to come from the east, if Partisan did make that cross and the smokes are coming out now to cover that vision, we could definitely see that cap. 2 minutes 25 remaining. It's a lot of time, really.
Here comes Partisan in the cross. Jedi's there, finds the kill. A big pickup to shut down the advancement towards objective. Now it's just Mike. Booty is finally rotating, it seems, potentially, maybe. And when you're down in the duo, you really do have to just get the other eye onto the objective. You know, your coverage of extended positions needs to kind of be sacrificed, and it does seem like Booty is now finally rotating here over towards the objective. Mike, hearing the shots from Jedi, relatively ready for Jedi, but Jedi has done a little bit of a rotation into the back darker corner here, going to make them harder to identify for Mike.
I must say that was a great rotation, really great awareness to be able to move in. Unfortunate he wasn't able to get the picks onto Mike, but it was just great awareness to be able to do that, really. Most people probably would have stayed in the same corner and just continued to hold, but that was very well done.
You know, I like the move, but at the same time, if they had stayed in the corner, in the tight corner, I think they would have surprised Mike, because Mike wasn't even looking into the tight corner. Mike was looking into this meta spot, which is very much a meta position here in the doorway, because it is a darker doorway. And so that rotation very well could have cost him. But Booty is still here, still defending. Do they have eyes on this across is my question as Mike is getting ready. What does Mike have in his arsenal as well? Can they flash the other side of this wall? They can. Ooh. Booty is full flashed. Here comes the cap from Mike on objective. Is it going to be in time? It is. Wow, that is textbook right there.
Beautiful going to be kicking themselves for that one, really. Not a lot that they could have done. Maybe another kind of rotation a little bit further, kind of northeast, but very well played by Mike, throwing the flash over, getting that and getting that cap in such a short period of time.
I really am impressed with BRSEK's advance onto the objectives. You know, they have been very calculated. That pre-fire, I mean, that whole move there from Mike was just great. The pre-fire around the corner into that hallway, anticipating the player there, the flash over the wall, because where else could they be at this point after they'd advanced and taken control of all the other space? You know, that was basically the only location that could be of that final defender. And, I mean, they nail the flash and are able to cap under their nose for 5 points total on map 1. Really nicely done again, coming in from that BRSEK side. And to the same voice, though, OVL also just look, they're so close on a lot of these plays. You know, they have good setups. You know, they're finding picks that they need to set themselves up early in the rounds, and then they're so close to locking in these final moments here for at least a few of these rounds. You know, I'm curious what we get from them as we go on to their map pick for map 2, which is going to be Suburbia. So we're at the very least going to stick to the close quarters, and I guess a Band of Downfall could have been an indicator that this team is going to prefer close quarters spaces.
Like you say, you know, they're doing so well in these early moments, and then it's just that follow-up. But I think that's what does come with time for teams as they progress further down the VRML lives, you know, that's just where it comes to. And I think sometimes the pressure as well, you know, this is OVL's first game of, you know, ever. It's being casted, so it's definitely going to have an effect on certain things. You know, you're not going to want to make a mistake on cast, you know,
Yeah.
and it's tough. But the BRSEK, you know, they're also coming out at the moment, and this team is something I'm really liking the look of. You know, they're so disciplined in what they're doing, and even though they are ahead, they're still retaining that discipline and still playing it as though, you know, they're behind, and this is the most important point, you know, and that's great to see.
Yeah, every point very much mattering here, and I think we are either waiting for the fifth to just connect or a potential sub being brought in here. That would certainly be interesting from a new team to be utilizing that full roster, potentially having an expert, if you will, on this map of Suburbia, and it looks like we are getting a sub. Red Varia coming in. Who are they subbing in for? Jedi Booty. So
Just checking now. Would have been. Avery was in there. Oh, Bubble Barry.
yeah, Red Varia
Maybe he's
coming
not.
in here for Bubbleberry, and again, liking what I'm seeing from OVL, to have your full roster and to have a player that you're gonna want to bring, you know, that you can bring in for a moment like this where you want to try and get your momentum back into things. You're gonna maybe have them be a quote-unquote expert on the map. We'll have to see, of course, how they perform, but that is a practiced thing to do out of a team, in my opinion. You know, something you really see more out of the top squads in the league. You know, teams like Beginners come to mind. They definitely do like to use that sort of strategy. A lot of teams do use the strategy of that full roster and having unique players for certain maps, and so like to see it here from a new team, and again, an indicator that, you know, OVL is coming in here trying to get some early W's in their first week in the season. You know, in the season, they're definitely. I can't imagine very happy about the 5-0 on Bazaar, especially in moments where they were close on a couple of rounds. And so I'm very curious to see what kind of energy we get from them here on Suburbia, and if they're going to be able to get at least a round on the board. Right at this point, that's what they're trying. That's the goal, is to just get one round here, so we're not completely shut out.
That is the crucial thing to do, is just get that initial point, or just, you know, any point really on the board, and then you'll find that momentum coming, or even just knowing, you know, hey, it wasn't a complete blowout, we got something, you know. It is good to see them be rotating the teams out, you know. I think maybe they've been probably watching boss fight streams, I want to say, because I feel like a couple of the spots as well have been kind of reminiscent of what I would see from boss fights, so maybe that's coming into it. And then also you've got the rotating players, so, or they just like to rotate the players.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. Just bring a fresh face in, bring a little fresh energy. It's a good strategy in its own right there, and so we'll have to see if it's going to be enough to get OVL back into things. And just waiting now to dive in to the next round here. First round of map number 2. Not seeing any subs coming in from BRSEK's side. Same 5 for them, and they'll be starting on defense. So go ahead, just are waiting on us.
there's the countdown.
You just have to complain enough, and then it will happen.
Every time.
That's how it works.
It's literally the second time.
Into it we go. The round 1 finally is kicking off here of map 2. If you're just tuning in, BRSEK definitely starting things off right, but OVL,
Okay, good luck,
you know,
guys.
close on their heels. We'll see if they can string things together here on their map pick. We go into round 1, and pre-fire does come in from both sides, but nothing connects.
No, and I feel like the movement there potentially from BRSEK, they were aware that there wasn't going to be a lot of pre-fire down that lane, which is pretty common from the kind of higher up teams. Avery, though, going to be pretty quick to get near Papanias, as they're going to be hearing this movement coming around the corner. The flash does come out. but a revenge flash comes out, which may have got Avery. It looks like it has, because he has ducked down, and Panya's now pushing in on him. Finally gets the shots, taking out Avery early on.
So interesting that Avery couldn't find Papanius there in the corner. It felt like they knew they were there, but they just never connected. And there's a nice little slide shot from Amato to fly up and catch the carport defender. Definitely an aggressive position to be in that carport, but Red Varia really not sure where Papanius is still after all this pre-fire. That flash, I think, connects onto Papanius. Here comes another one. That's definitely going to blind them out, but are they going to apply the pressure? Jedi crosses out in front of Papanius and tucks in. Papanius takes the shots.
Papanius definitely was blinded by those flashes there. Unfortunate Jedi didn't just turn around and just spot him. Maybe he didn't hear the gunshots from earlier between Papanius and Avery. And we're now going to see Oscar Victor Lima's being taken out. Red Varia gets picked up as he moves around that corner. Papanius really being a bit of a thorn in the side here. Mutaful finally gets the pick, but it is a trade, leaving Abito on his own on the slide.
Believe me, it is pronounced Obito.
Obito.
Ujidim heavily suppressed. Uchiha not able to connect. Gonna back off from this side entirely and likely rotate around to that other side. Try and throw off the scent, if you will, and redirect attention elsewhere. Obito gonna have a tough time with Partisan in that center house. That's gonna be their first order of business. I do wonder how this rotation is going to pay off. If Partisan is going to be holding from that window, doesn't seem like it, but I think they have a angle if they do just check down through that window. But Partisan isn't watching that side. They haven't really caught on to the fact that Uchiha is on a rotation. And they may be able to find maybe a little bit of utility and maybe an angle on a Mike or GDIM. They can work their way over to the APC.
It's going to be a crucial rotation, really, over onto lane 1. Like I say, Partizan hasn't spotted any of this movement yet and doesn't seem to be covering lane 1 himself. So if GDIM or I think Mike's pretty well covered, but GDIM, if he swings around that window, he could find himself getting picked off. But it is going to be a tough cross for Abito.
Quiet cross so far. Partisan does check and does take the shots. BRSEK do hold on to the streak. 6 unanswered points now as they grab their defensive round. Big plays from Papanius, though, with 4 kills on the board there to absolutely shut down that offense. And, you know, it's tough to really determine where players are under heavy amounts of gunfire, but you know, as you play the game more and more, you really start to recognize guns and their location from that gunfire, and you can really react off of it. We didn't, unfortunately, didn't see that from OVL as they pushed through the center, and maybe they just weren't really even aware of that potential defensive position. But either way, a solid defensive round there from BRSEK, and again, Papanius just absolutely popping off. Snagging 4 there up through the center and really just ruining any momentum from OVL.
Got to feel good, really, hasn't it, currently for this BRSEK team? You know, first game of the season, going in strong as well, and getting those points. And it'll be good to see once the MMR has balanced after teams have played their first few games. And seeing the teams then that Oscar Victor Lima do play against, as I feel like, you know, they're going to be in very strong positions. Again, they were getting those picks there, and they got the flashes out as well. Just unfortunately, they couldn't follow up after the flash went off, or communicating the gunshots to each other. So Jedi got picked off from the back without checking that spot. But again, that's just what comes down to the experience, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and they. Again, so close for OVL. You know, they had the good they almost had Papanius dead early there. You know, they identified him early in that cross. They had the kill on the slide down into the carport. They started things how they needed to, but they just could not get through that middle half of the round without suffering. And now we'll see how OVL does on defense. The swap sides remain on that tank objective, go back into the action for round 2.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with just one
Defensive strat now for OVL is going to be the important one. I feel like they're going to hold nice defensive angles and just shut down any approach like they were doing really on Bazaar there. They've opted to send out 4 players past the objective, which is a pretty good idea. Avery taking one of the more meta spots in front of the spawn house to cover in front of main house, should I say, for anyone coming in through the back, and then we're kind of leaving lane 4 open for an approach there with Red Varia covering it from spawn house, and BRSEK going to get a lot of ground here given to them. It's just going to be a question as to whether OVL are able to pick them off when they make those crosses.
Red Varia caught out there trying to defend from carport. Able to rotate back. Avery here waiting, does snag the first kill. A trend that OVL have managed to maintain, it seems, every round, but it hasn't been enough to get them on the board. Maybe this time it will be.
Suburbia is such a balanced map in so many ways, and it's a lot more forgiving as well in a lot of things. Unfortunately, Partisan, though, has that experience, knows he can pick off Avery from the slide, and Avery, I think, took a couple shots there and just hit him back. He's just got to not swing out and get caught by Partisan, and this can be the problem with that spot. You do get kind of stuck in a corner there when somebody does get onto the slide, where you need that backup from someone to be able to get them off it, really. And just moving around on lane 3, gets spotted by Red Varia. Unfortunately, the shot's not going to connect, so he must get back into the cover, but OVL doing really well to hold back BRSEK. Another side to the game. If Marsot run out of time, they're going to then lose the point. So if Volt can be aggressive enough to hold them back, then they get the point. Beautiful and Zenoza going to get their trade. Turn this into a 4v3.
Res available there, and Beautiful able to comment anything if they see rotations from Mike. Partisan does get identified out in the middle of the park area there, but it's not before Mike catches 2 more, and just like that, we're into a 1v2. BRSEK with the advantage. Papanius just sitting in the backside, and Partisan still alive in the playground. I do wonder if they're going to try and go for the cap now, because Jedi doesn't have good eyes on that side of the objective.
No, and as we're very well aware, you need somebody up on mid-house or somewhere on that side of the tank, because a very common strat is a lot of smokes coming over and Marsot just pushing to the one side of the tank and getting the cap there. So Jedi really needs to have a bit of a rotation now, so he can at least try and cover that central area. He does have Beautiful, who's only down, so going to be making some call-outs, unless Papanius hears that and decides to take him out. And Partisan, Partisan has been the serial capper tonight as well. He's got one of them with Mike, so he's going to be looking for that. And a good kind of snaky movement, he could make it to the tank without actually being spotted by Jedi, as Papanius could just put a little bit of pre-fire down and hold him back in.
I mean, with where Jedi is now, I actually like the position. He is really avoiding detection, and he has good eyes through the carport. To the point, though, he's very weak if they do approach from the playground. But right now, Partisan and Papanius are going to have to cross his line of sight to get to the objective. And so if he just plays this tight late angle, doesn't get too far out, he may have a chance. That smoke is very well placed. That may disrupt this angle from Jedi. It may force him out here into Partisan's line of fire, and Partisan just barely missing those shots.
I'm wondering if they've actually got an accurate kill count, really, because it feels like they're going for that kill. The cap was certainly potentially on there. They had the smoke well placed, like you say. They had the 2 players. Partizan didn't seem to want to kind of go for that, though.
Yeah.
So maybe the kill count wasn't quite all there. Nevertheless.
Yeah, I always look at KDs, and again, OVL are connecting. You know, they're close on these rounds, but they just can't get that cigar. And BRSEK now again piling on 7 unanswered points as they go up 2-0 here on Suburbia. But it certainly has been close. Maybe this is us combining our energies here. Close rounds, but still not a close score line. As BRSEK continued to maintain a steady lead.
Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it, really? We joke about it at the start, but they're certainly coming in. And, you know, it's unfortunate, really, because every round we're saying it, you know, those first 2-4 minutes of OVL are just playing so well, and they're getting the picks. I do feel like they're getting the first kill of every round at the moment, or somewhat. It's going to be most of them, you know.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, BRSEK are just playing so well at the moment and so disciplined and regimented. They're checking angles, they're checking the buildings, and they're moving as one. They're very, very well coordinated for what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah. There's a good couple of rounds here for the BRSEK squad. They're persevering through these final moments of the rounds and managing to get their W's. And now go on the defense with a objective that can be tough to properly hold. Oscar OVL may find a opportunity here to really challenge this BRSEK lead and again get points on the board. There's also an opportunity for BRSEK to put out a pretty aggressive defensive style here as well, and that could very well pay off. We've seen it pay off already for them, and especially up against a newer team. Some of those aggressive positions, those off-meta positions, can really surprise them. Simply because they've been doing maybe their homework and looking at meta positions and not necessarily, you know, there's so many choices you can make in terms of how you want to push objectives these days, and it just really takes a lot of time and understanding to know all of the potential options. And so if anything, I think OVL are definitely learning here today, and it makes me interested to see how they're going to be playing, you know, like you said, weeks 2, 3, even 4 of this season, where they will be lying as we go later into season 13 as a new squad. They're certainly got me intrigued, and so out the gate, I would say a good couple of rounds from them, but we'll see if they can capitalize and get at least one on the board. Or if BRSEK will continue to just sort of dominate the scoreline here. Round 3 does kick off. We're still on Suburbia on map 2.
Red Varia gonna find somebody with that pre-fire, and I must say I was watching that line of pre-fire and it was fantastic. Abito getting a pick onto Partizan himself, and very quickly BRSEK down to 3 players, and again this OVL side looking so strong for this initial push. BRSEK looking a little bit relaxed on the objective, Mike covering it from his position by the tank, but if he gets taken out, I feel like then, you know, the cap from the playground could come out, enough smoke, and it's definitely there. It would just be a question as to how Zenoza will react, but Abito over on the BRSEK side now, going to be able to spot him very shortly. There it is. And this is looking very, very, very promising. Mike also out in the open from this position, hasn't rotated. He's and those gunshots, you're going to hear them.
Oh my gosh, and it's crazy that Obito doesn't see Mike there. They think they're part of the APC on the ground, not quite seeing Mike prone, but Obito definitely could have had one more. Jedi is going to be the one that actually finds it now, and GDM is all alone on the far south side with a distraction presence from Obito. It really is an opportunity here to smoke and cap this objective. If they have an accurate kill count and OVL are communicating effectively, they should know there's only one defender left. They really should be looking for the cap, but it is tough to go. It's tough to go for the cap as a new team, and they just want that round on the board. They finally do prevent the shutout, and on their map pick, they get one.
That was just textbook play really right there.
Yeah.
You know, that was great to see. That was something I would have expected to see from like a gold standard team. Definitely, you know, that play, Abito making a brilliant push onto lane 1, the pre-fire getting the early pick, just the early picks working so well. That round there, they were able to just push through and complete with what they needed to do, which definitely shows they are learning from these rounds playing against BRSEK. And you know, this is the second map, so they are not out of this at the moment. If they can continue with this momentum and just keep going with these, they could actually take this second map and get back into the game.
Certainly would be exciting to see, but I imagine BRSEK now very well may have a fire lit underneath them, as they have lost around. Maybe a little bit more focus will be coming in here on their attack. And, you know, just like we said, this with OVL attacking this objective, certainly vulnerable to a well-coordinated smoke play, and I don't put that past BRSEK here at all. I very well anticipate them to be heavily smoking this objective and trying to push in for a cap.
Definitely, but I wonder if that point also will probably have kind of just put them off a little bit and thinking, actually, you know, this team are going to put up a fight. They're not just going to roll over no matter what's going on in the score. They're still playing it as though it's that match point. So it's going to be great to see how both teams go. You know, we've seen more kind of, I would say, investigated kind of spots. You know, OVL have definitely done their homework on these, so I wonder how many times they've seen this objective and how they're going to put their slant on it, because they're clearly doing things from what they've seen from streams.
Yeah, it is good to see, and see if their research is enough to get them a few more points here on their map pick. Makes me wondering where we're headed for map 3 as we get closer and closer to that reality, but we're not there yet, and very well could be a little bit before we get there as OVL go on defense. BRSEK on the attack. Round number 4 kicking off.
We haven't seen much pre-fire coming from this BRSEK team. They're going to know they're going to be able to put a stop to any movements. And there is a little bit there, but he's not going to find its mark anywhere. OVL allowed to push out onto the objective and get into their defensive spots. A little bit of retaliatory. Pre-fire also coming back in to put a stop to any movement through lane 3. Avery getting a little bit aggressive there. Does get picked off by Partisan though. Seeing this squad movement, unfortunately they're a little bit bunched up. One grenade could be enough to take this push out. As BRSEK slowly move through the playground, Beautiful in a good position to be able to just stop anybody moving from lane 3. And Abito again got into a very good position, but just not able to see Partisan. He will be able to see anyone else going. Partisan getting the pick onto Beautiful and Jedi. And this is not looking good now for OVL.
No, they've absolutely lost control of things here, and Abito does catch one at least. On the rotation out of that position, though, there's a lot of eyes dialed in. Abito gets a lot of suppressive fire. Nothing connects, though, and Abito's still alive here as they work closer and closer to the playground side. Maybe they can deny the advancement here from this team, but it seems like Papanias is going to put up a defensive line and at least prevent the push there as they advance closer to objective. Partisan could push up here and cap. This is the threat, especially on the other side of the sandbags. Basically free at this stage because Red Varia is not going to see it, and so Partisan tablet out, going to go for the series win here.
This is unfortunate because Red Varia did move into a good position, hasn't actually seen this movement though, unfortunately, and Partisan going to get the cap again. And I feel like they're going to learn a lot from this stream when they watch it back, as they definitely had the moments where they could have been able to put a stop to this. Abito got into a great position there. If he'd been able to follow up on his flank, then that could have been a very different story there.
Could have been, but unfortunately or fortunately, BRSEK take the series and the W here on Oscar Victor Lima's map pick. 4-1. We still do play out the third map here in the VR Master League, regardless of the winning team, because at the end of the day, the points do matter. So we are going to play out that third round. BRSEK will have the luxury of choosing where we go for map 3, and I wonder if we're going to stick to close quarters. Cargo obviously off the table, but something like Subway still very much available, and that's where we are headed for our third match.
Yeah, based on the numbers, this was probably going to be one of the most likely outcomes of the third map pick. BRSEK having played it so much in the past few seasons, so it's going to be good to see how OVL adjust now, having been so close and obviously not just quite hit the mark there. BRSEK also, knowing they've won, going to have to keep that discipline that they've shown throughout the past two maps to continue with their with getting those points for the MMR.
Yeah, there's a moment here for OVL to lighten the damage done. If they can take a map win here, or at least put up a few more rounds on the board, their loss here will not impact them as much. And I guess it doesn't really matter too much as a brand new team to the league. Obviously you'd like to start off with a couple of W's, but not necessarily in the cards. To go up against a silver team too, definitely a challenge as a brand new squad. So again, impressive to see them performing how they have today, and hopefully they don't feel too dissuaded from this matchup here this afternoon, because again, it seems like there's potential really with OVL, and on the other, just like we've said, BRSEK also looking good. Maybe this is going to be a team that can push up into that gold division, maybe even a little bit higher here with how they've been playing so far today.
Yeah, both sides really putting out all the stops as to what they can do. Oscar to Lima just got to get a few games under the belt and just continue. We've all been there with any team that we've started, and it is tough joining from the very beginning when you've got the soft reset of MMR. Some of the teams you're going to come up against have had a few more games than probably yourselves, so it is important to acknowledge that and just push through, continue, and see it as a great learning experience. Can't really tell you the amount of times played against beginners and boss fight teams like that where they have just steamrolled you, and it's not a fun feeling, but it's a learning experience, and you do get it from those games.
Absolutely. Over on BRSEK's side, maybe we're going to see a sub as we're waiting for a fifth to connect here, so we do appreciate your patience as we have had again, an interesting insight into both of these teams and how we anticipate them to perform here throughout the course of the season. Again, very much looking forward to seeing more new teams too. I know there's a handful of them here in Season 13 in particular, and so very much going to be looking to get eyes on the new squads. Also eyes on squads that maybe we missed over the course of Season 12 or even 11. There's so many teams that came in Season 12 as well that are trying to climb that ladder here in Season 13, trying to capitalize on their experience gained. And when you talk about games played, I think BRSEK have probably 40 more games played than OVL and VRML, and so that is a handful, obviously a good chunk of experience to be tapping into for them as well. It's why you see plays like the flashbang and the patience for the cap, and it's understandings like that you get after playing competitively for a while, and so good to see from them again, them playing as well as they have been today. And looks like we are getting no sub, just a little bit of a technical timeout, if you will, for them to connect in. At least I'm not seeing any on BRSEK's side. Over on OVL, looks like they're going to stick with Red Varia here for Subway, and no other subs there.
This is going to be... I was just going to say, it's going to be a good first objective, really, as well, for this Subway map, as we're going to be on the main platform, and again, this one can be pretty balanced in one sense, and Volk having to hold that tight defense, and Marsok having to kind of just poke and prod and try and find any gaps they can to be able to get in and start taking out that Volk defense.
Yeah, it is a opportunity for BRSEK to start with a cap. They really could come out here flying up from the basement and put an early challenge onto the objective if OVL don't apply proper utility and pressure where they need to on some of these exits. So we'll see if BRSEK can come out guns blazing on map 3 as well, but still up in the air. Still not sure. I feel that they will. They certainly have been playing strong here in these early rounds on every map, and so I imagine cap is very much in their mind. They've been pretty cap focused here today. Obviously 5-0 on Bazaar with 2 caps there. 1 cap to win it there on Suburbia, and so yeah, I don't think a early cap should be out of the minds for OVL. They really got to be ready for that potential threat, because I imagine that is what is coming to kick this round 1 off here on Subway, and we are finally getting into it. BRSEK again on offense, OVL on defense. Round number 1 kicking off here.
The question now is just going to be how OVL are going to defend against the cap, really. Like you say, BRSEK definitely going to be looking for that. They've been playing to it so far. And we're going to see Avery moving out to cover the overpass area. Beautiful, and Obito covering the main objective kind of platform, with Jedi covering the north. So pretty standard defense, really, from this team. BRSEK going to be probably aware of majority of these positions. Red Varia, though, having probably taken the most out there kind of spot and doing a little bit of a dance to cover the self track.
Hey, you gotta shine while you're on cam, right? Doing some sort of kamehameha situation. We're really mixing up genres here with Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. What else can we be adding in? So, either way, OVL, at least, enjoying their time in the action. So it seems. And south setup here. Papanias GDM going to work into the L from south, and this is a powerful exit here where they can come out and really be challenging objective. I also do like the setup on defense here. Obito's thrown C4 out. They also have a flashlight deployed on the corner there. And, for me, this is a pretty structured and thought-out defensive setup here on objective, and it's exactly what they need to really prevent an easy cap. We'll see if they can prevent the overall pressure, because what BRSEK are doing is they're not really applying full force out of the basement like I anticipated they would, and instead are going for a very full spread, where it seems like they're going to try and hit the objective from every angle at the same time. Oh no.
Not sure, quite sure what happened there. I think a little bit of miscommunication between Jedi and Avery, as the team kill did come out. I think Avery got a kill though just before that happened over on the on the north stairs from the basement. So save that approach, but the question is going to be now if Partisan gets any further uncontested through the through that overpass area.
Takes some shots, giving away the location a little bit, but no one's there, and then Partisan drops off. Interesting choice in rotation. It doesn't seem like they are going to apply pressure down the horseshoe, although they would have had it for free, essentially. And instead, they're going to rotate back and rejoin the south pressure with Papanias, GDIM, Mike in the basement there as well, slowly working their way up to the stairs. Maybe because they have a comfortable control here, they feel that the rotation is going to assist them in this push, but it really could all come crumbling down if Red Varia does catch out this cross.
Yeah, Red Varia definitely going to be probably the next person to see some kind of action, and he is going to be in probably the most important spot really to stop this BRSEK push from the south, as they're getting pretty heavy there. Mike also now getting a little bit pushy as well from the south set of stairs, so he's going to be very well aware of all this. Going to have to call it out to Jedi, who needs to put in and provide that cover as the shots come out onto Mike, pushing him back down the stairs, giving away his position now, so he does need that help. Partisan looking for that kill.
Does catch it, but now Partisan's down in the middle of, a very tough, a risky spot to go for a res. GDIM or Papanias may come around and get it. but they're fortunate nobody has eyes on here out in the middle of the open. Pontius is going to be able to get this res, bring the team back up to 4. OVL down to 3. BRSEK have the advantage. Is it going to be enough becomes that question. Obito still holding that key spot. Ultimately, they're going to have to cross, this train track to get to the objective.
It's good positioning from Abito, pushing himself as far back as he possibly can, just to avoid the shots and allow that bullet drop to happen. So they're going to have, BRSEK going to have to push in a little bit closer, and he's going to definitely try and punish them for that. Beautiful covering a good side of the objective, but the smokes now coming out are going to cover his vision. Partisan pushing in there. Beautiful, great shot onto GDM, and Obito taking out Partisan, turning this into a 2v3. Very quickly, that BRSEK push got shut down. Great defense.
Big pickup there from Beautiful to get to assist Obito. Really, just like that, shutting down the push. Papanius is going to push out and cross. They're going to go down. Obito finds that kill. Mike, are they going to be able to get over to Obito with the coverage here from Beautiful? Oh, no, Beautiful doesn't see Mike cross out. Mike is going to find at least one. There's 2.
Definitely the important moment now. Jedi really needs to be pushing in. Obito got to be calling this out to him to provide some cover. Just get on those tracks and hold the sight line. The pre-fire coming out. Mike going to be aware of now where Jedi is, and currently is playing so well.
Wow.
He had the advantage of being able to just hold his position and watch for any movement. Unfortunately for Jedi, he needed to get into a position. Very well played there by BRSEK.
I really wonder what happened there, because they had Obito down the line able to communicate that player wasn't pushing objective. 30 seconds on the clock. All they had to do was just basically tuck in, force the time, force them to push up for the cap, and then you can go for a free shot with a person with a tablet in their hand. But instead, we see a bit of a panic, as you would expect as you're a lone defender. But the one time really not necessary, because you do have that comfort and confidence of your defender there communicating, hey, I see this guy on the tracks. He's not pushing the ramp yet. He hasn't gone to objective. Stay tucked in. 30 seconds, but to be aware of the timer like that, that's, again, another veteran sort of strategy, another veteran thing to be conscious of. And it just feels like BRSEK are really getting wins off of experience here in the back half of these rounds. At least their experience is really showing, where their patience and ultimately the big kills there from Mike are getting them W's. And Mike 3-0 there to get that triple to win the round.
Yeah, Mike tonight, he has definitely been one of the star players for BRSEK. He's made that play to get the cap. He's had a couple of these times where he has pushed in and just got the kills onto the players that he's needed to. Beautiful, and Abito had that on lockdown, that track. It was going to be a tough push. He was on his own. Unfortunately, Beautiful moved to the other side of the door, so he was visible from the south. If he had stayed on the south side, that could have probably been very different there. And we are now... I did hear the countdown. It seems like full start.
Yeah. We'll false start. Taking a look over at chat. I see a bunch of folks hanging out here this afternoon. Do appreciate you all stopping by and enjoying some VRML afternoon action. We got plenty more games this afternoon, although not back-to-back, but there is more games coming up here on this channel and also on OML3. I think OML3 is actually live right now. That being on twitch.tv/onward_VRML3. Nomad getting a cast in on that side. If you do want to catch Imperial versus Gladiators, that's live there. I do recommend you get both streams up so you can catch all of the action, so you can see OVL potentially coming back here on Subway as we swap sides and they go on to the attack. BRSEK still, though, comfortably leading the series, and now with a 1-0 lead here on map 3. We'll see if they can apply a little bit of counter pressure onto this offense in the basement.
We have got a pretty heavy push
straight away from OVL into the basement. Abito getting that first kill, reminiscent of many other rounds there. Partisan made it push through the smoke, and he's on the back line now. He might be able to catch one or two off guard, but Abito does watch that corridor, takes out Partisan very quickly down to a 3v4.
On objective is the south push. Bootyful goes down to the Zenoza. Jedi still in the L, waiting for if Zenoza is going to peek out. Booty is also Resable here, so if Jedi can fly and get the kill, the res is available. Oh no, now both of them are down. And Resable. BRSEK are down to 2. OVL is down to technically 2.
Radio.
Unfortunate there for OVL as Red Varia did take out Avery. It was a fantastic push from both sides. You know, the top working really well. Jedi able to get the kill, but Red Varia got spooked there, took out Avery, and that's what's put us down to this 2v4. Well, 2v2 with 2 being down. So Red Varia or Abito gonna have to make a movement to try and get these revives, as it's going to be important to get Jedi and Beautiful up right now.
Nice C4 placement between the rails to really camouflage it. Abito flies around the corner and just barely avoids that C4 hitting them. And I imagine now Booty and Jedi are giving callouts on Mike's position. They should be able to see Mike in the stairwell there. Abito does seem somewhat keyed into it, but they are going to back off their push here as Varia now takes an opportunity to push up the stairs. They're not watching behind them. Mike may find an easy kill.
Very unfortunate there for the OVL side. Red Varia coming up the stairs, maybe got the call-outs or from his team, but just not quite able to act on, and Mike in a good position to be able to cover those stairs. So between Papanias now and Mike having to cover covering the kind of eastern side of the objective, leaving that western approach from the basement pretty open. And I think we're going to see Abito go and try and get the revive, but Beautiful and Jedi have been down for quite a while now. One could only ask that, how long until they bleed out?
Exactly what I was thinking. Is he going to be there in time? He might. It is kind of it is a long time in the grand scheme of things. It's almost half a round that you're technically alive. You know, 2 minutes. A good amount of time here, and he can swing into the get in the side. Gets stuck on the rail there. Is able to get past though on the other side of the train. Mike won't have an angle. He has to get the red off soon again because our time is ticking. Beautiful does come up. Gonna take the res off the ground for Jedi and get them up, and just like that, it's a 3-2 swing. OVL back in it.
Just like that, though, we do lose one player, and so we're down to this 2v2. Jedi and Abito very well aware, though, of Mike's positioning, so they know that they need to take him out. If they do get that, then the cap from behind the map could actually be on. From the looks of it, I feel like OVL have probably practiced this, and Mike, he's moved away. The objective is pretty much wide open. The smoke's now coming out. Is this going to be a revenge cap here? BRSEK very far off the objective, and OVL have a lot of time on this.
It would be nice to see OVL get one cap here on the board, but there is definitely eyes on from Papanias and Mike now. And you can see maybe a little bit of concern even as they come crashing in towards the objective, flying out of their spots. Abito goes down to Mike's pressure, and Mike is heavily suppressing Jedi in the corner. Jedi maybe not ready for this kind of push, and they aren't. Mike's going to shut down the advance from OVL. The res doesn't matter. BRSEK take a 2-0 lead.
Come down to that last 2-3 minutes again. It's all looking so promising, and then just something happens, and then BRSEK just get ahead of them, and they get those crucial picks. Abito going down there probably would have been the one that would have made it. You know, he would have probably been able to take out Mike as he pushed back in on the objective. The chance was there, but again, I think that experience definitely showing for as a hindrance for the OVL side.
Oh yeah, the team kill also not exactly ideal.
No,
not
that's
exactly
the second as well.
a perfect thing to have on your KD feed there or in that round, but either way, a good effort, and again, a good start. You know, they're ready for the aggression early, and they're finding success in it. Just from there, they're having a tough time getting to where they need to be. together as a team. And again, that's just that's the full challenge of competitive Onward. So not surprised to see that struggle here today. We do go to a new objective though after 2 rounds played, and this one certainly capable. Tough to cap in my opinion, but if attacked properly, BRSEK may find an opportunity to just secure map 3 here in the next round.
Yeah, I think that is my concern really on this one. It's definitely one of those objectives where a newer team that maybe not has played it as much in a competitive fashion could probably get caught out with a few things, and the positioning, it's tough to get your positioning right on this one to cover it. But vice versa, it can be pretty tough for the MARSOC side to be able to get the cap. It does require that equipment usage and the cohesion, as it's pretty out in the open kind of objective. So I think this one may play into BRSEK's favor personally.
Yep, feeling that way too, and especially if they get a quick spawn, you know, that could really set them up nicely. So we'll have to see where they spawn in and how they play it out. But either way, a cap opportunity is in the wings here. And again, OVL just have to be anticipating that almost. And you can use, you know, the knowledge that they are likely to go for a cap to your advantage. You can play a much tighter kill box just around the objective, not necessarily looking for early picks. And granted, is that the right choice? I don't even know, because they have been successful early in the rounds finding kills. So, you know, maybe go out, kind of expand and contract as a defense, you know. Go out for the kills, come back once you've had them, and you can comfortably defend, anticipating that they're going to go for that cap. So obviously a bit of an advanced strategy, but or maybe not so obviously, but an advanced strategy for sure. And so we'll see if it is deployed here by the likes of OVL. Either way, they have been playing good early in the round, and so maybe they can secure another early advantage. Again, depending on the spawn, you can't have action right away in these alleyways, so let's see what we get. Ooh, I just looked at the KD feed, 7-0 for Mike right now.
He's looking very strong, isn't he? And like said earlier on, you know, he's definitely been the kind of star player for BRSEK. He's really been a thorn in the side of OVL tonight, as he's been here, there, and everywhere, just causing commotion and getting those kills. So the OVL really need to watch him in this one.
Looks like they are going to get the quick spawn from BRSEK. See how they utilize it. I'm seeing 3 going south, so I don't anticipate this to be an aggressive side push out of the spawn.
I think we are going to see a bit more of a reserved OVL team for this objective, so maybe feeling the pressure a little bit. Obito, though, in a pretty good position there to be able to cover the cell stairs. He is going to see a few members of BRSEK coming in, and we're seeing this flashlight utilization on a hang-on on the bin again, just to provide himself a little bit of cover and a bit of a distraction there as somebody pushes through.
Yeah, try and pull the eye to the flashlight while they shoot them in the back. That would be the goal, I imagine, of this strategy, and we'll see if it is enough up against a squad like BRSEK. They also just have good, solid coverage here of the south, and it's interesting to see that BRSEK seem to be playing into this strong south defense with Partisan here at least pushing in. I do see Papanius and Mike advancing through the horseshoe, though. They're going to be kind of popping up back onto the north side. And it very well could, well, it looks like it's going to be a 4-player push from this main lane with 1 flanking in from the south.
Obito and Partisan are going to be very shortly meeting at the bottom of these stairs, and we'll see who's the victor of that one. Liking this defense though at the moment from the OVL side, like you say, it's very, very tight and compact, and BRSEK going to have to play into their sight lines. We're seeing Red Vario with the C4 just as you push around the alley for a little bit of backup and protection there. Unfortunately, not going to have any of the BRSEK members coming that way, but anything could change as time goes on and people get picked off. And this is a bit more of a reserve BRSEK side as well. 2 minutes in, and we haven't really seen as much action as we have seen in the previous rounds. In the first 30 seconds, usually something's gone on. So both sides probably feeling the pressure a little bit now.
Or we're seeing an adjustment from BRSEK finally, and they don't want to sacrifice an early kill like they have been every round. Maybe they're trying to change that weak point that they've been having here and adjusting their strategies. Either way, we'll see if it's enough. It looks like the duo here has come out of the catwalk. They'll be reinforcing squad here, and it's going to be this north push here. Bootyful does take the risk of peeking and catches two. Wow, gets the headshot as well on the mic on the stairs. That's a big double kill to get OVL into a good position here.
I think that just goes down to the positioning there, Mike, and I think it was Papania? Papanius or Jedem? Yeah, Papanius, I think it was, as they lined up just there. Avery with a great kill onto Zenoza. Zenoza. This is looking good. Again, you know, we've been in this position so many times, though, tonight, and we keep, you know, I'm always Team OVL, and they're looking strong, but something happens and something goes on, so I'm just hoping they can hold on to this momentum at the moment, as they are looking very, very strong here.
Yeah. Curious if Partisan is going to push off, rotate back to, or if they're going to continue to try and push towards Obito. They have the smoke on the stairs. They get past, and they are distracted by that flashlight, and Obito finds their back. A good pickup there on the play. Now Jedem alone in a 1v4.
It works perfectly to how Abito wanted that, you know. Partisan looked like he was wearing his night vision goggles, so that flashlight definitely would have been covering his vision, or at least a little bit, you know. Of course, it just get a bit of confusion, which was just enough. Avery now looking at Jedem looking at him, and Avery going to be the victor, giving OVL their second point of the night.
Good solid defense from them, and I think they're fortunate that the pressure wasn't applied heavily out the gate from BRSEK there, but either way, the patience does come in from OVL. Finally, you know, they really did wait for them to come into their kill box, and you know, you don't see too much over aggression outside of that swing, which does pay off in a 1v2 trade. So good job OVL of again getting back onto the board here in this final map of the series. And you know, now they go on offense. Maybe an opportunity to get a cap, but BRSEK really haven't been putting up too weak of a defense, you know, and I think with that experience of a season under their belt, they're not going to be likely to leave open too many cap opportunities unless it involves smokes or flashbangs.
I think OVL are really going to have to kind of poke and prod at this BRSEK defense to try and just get them off track there. And one thing we haven't seen too much really of has been C4 placements. I mean, there was a couple in that last round from OVL as they're starting to use that a little bit more, and I'm pretty sure BRSEK have had or you played around with strats with C4, so I wonder if this is going to be a C4 one for them. Both sides being a little bit bunched up, that one C4 well placed could take a few people out. Looking on the kill feed at the moment, and OVL again looking promising on their side. You know, they've got Bootyful, Avery, Abito with kills. Mike being the only one mainly with kills for the BRSEK side. So if he goes down early, the question is going to be how are BRSEK going to like follow through with that.
Yeah, I think we've seen standout plays from a couple of folks on BRSEK, though. You know, Papanius hasn't come alive, really. They're 0-2 right now, and they were responsible for near ace on Suburbia. So, you know, if they do start to connect, then maybe things could be different there as well. So we'll have to see how OVL can do. But like you said, they are certainly looking good, much better than they have in previous maps, and maybe they'll be able to put up another point here on map 3. They do get the quick spawn, and they are seemingly using it.
And I did hear the call out there, don't go left, which is a very good call out. You know, that's a bit of a kill box. Abito getting the first pick onto Partisan, first 20 seconds. We see this a lot now, and that's completely opening up this the South Alley now. And that's going to be a pretty crucial
position for this push from OVL, as they have opted, like you say, to use that quick spawn and get aggressive. So if they can control the northern alley, then it's going to look pretty good for them.
There's really no coverage all the way up to the objective where Zenoza is holding a very late line on OBJ. They could actually cap under Zenoza's nose. They could cap by just getting within range on the around the corner if Zenoza doesn't check. You know, right by the fence, just outside of the fence. I think you can punch the code in, and so there is an opportunity here. C4 does get detonated. GDIM also finds the kill. A big trade here in the alleyway. I think ends up with things even.
Yeah, that was a classic play of how it's gone over the night. Started that push in the in that alley, looked well. Avery and was it Red Vario, I think, as they pushed in there, were looking good, talking to each other, telling each other not to push out and check the bins, but unfortunately just didn't quite get to Papanias, who played it really well, able to take them both out. I think, again, that kind of experience definitely came out there.
Mike and Zenoza holding objective, trying to deny entry here. Obito is going to get caught out through the fence. Mike finding another kill in round 3 or round 4 here, and now it's Jedi and Bootyful alone in a 2v3. Not insurmountable, and they are pushing what I would say is the weak side. It's just a matter of getting utility around that right-hand corner for Bootyful, the south side corner, and really kind of shutting down that Mike and Zenoza team up.
Yeah. This alleyway is such a difficult one to push on, really. It's just a huge choke point, and that's a great nade coming out from Jedi, taking out Mike as he pushes into that alley, getting aggressive, and this is certainly going to change up this defense. And it's a perfect smoke, like you say. It's going to completely cover Zenoza's vision, so Jedi and Bootyful could push up just a little bit further on this. Papania needs to provide some backup now.
There is none. Papanias has not rotated back yet. Finally, they're rotating towards objective, and it's going to be at just the right time as Bootyful pushes out from the smoke. Tablet comes out. Papanias is there to shut it down. Jedi, the last one to push forward here now. Knows Zenoza's on the right side, has heard shots from the left. The smoke's going to dissipate, and they can't quite catch Zenoza. They do tag 1 or 2 bullets onto their shoulder. Papanias is going to apply pressure onto the short angle, and Jedi tucks in just in time to avoid Papanias connecting there. Now Jedi knows that there's one on each side. They're going to find Papanias trying to throw out a nade. A nice pickup there. The flash completely blinds them, though. Zenoza pushes off of the flash. Good call-outs from Papanias. They both run out of ammo, staring at each other. Zenoza goes down, and Jedi wins the round. What the heck?
I was lost.
I just missed the play there, but yeah, that was something. They ran out of ammo, staring at each other, plain and simple, and he gets around the corner to reload and pops back out for the kill. I don't know if they were going for the res on Papanias or what, but OVL have tied up map number 3 here, 2 apiece.
Yeah, I just cannot explain that. Jedi held it well, I must say. You know, it pushed in and used the smoke to get shots onto Zenoza really, really well. And Papania ran in, just about got some shots onto him. Great play to get behind the behind that cover on the wall, and that's very, very small amount of cover. So very lucky he didn't get taken out. Takes out Papania, who then threw a flash as he died. So Jedi was completely flashed and blinded as Zenoza runs in and just couldn't quite land the shots onto him because he hid in the corner again. And they ran out of bullets as they shot at each other. It's just, you couldn't ride that. It was just, wow.
Certainly one way for OVL to get another point on the board. And that's that for that objective. Our next one going to be the marketplace. And another objective ripe for a cap if BRSEK feeling that they want to just finish things off here. Very well could be go for, although Yeah, I imagine they're going to try and get smokes here around to the corner. That's going to be the challenge, though, is getting up to that objective corner. OVL have been putting on good defenses, and I imagine that they're very much going to be defending the market well here and going into some pretty standard corners that do work well because, well, they're meta for a reason, right? Because they are effective positions to take, and so there's plenty of effective positions to take early to defend against a push for a cap on this OBJ. But yeah, it all comes down to the utility use, really. And we'll see how BRSEK attack. We go back to it for round number 5 on map 3.
I mean, I would just like to point out one thing. So far on this map, there hasn't been a Marsalt win, I don't think. It's just been Volks, I think, so far. So OVL actually could, if they continue with this fashion, potentially take this map and get their first map of the season, of their first season.
First lead of their first game in regular season.
Yeah.
That would be nice too.
And have you seen the C4 placement on the box in the alleyway in the north? I have not seen that one before. And that is out of nade territory as well. No one really throws grenades that short. You're going to go for the corner behind it. So Abito could be coming up with something great here.
Have to wait and the utility comes in.
One nade's gone out, didn't get it.
Got our hacks on right now as we're inside the building. Full perspective, but yeah, very nice setup there for Obito. Have to see if their patience in the corner pays off.
Beautiful also.
Mike working their way up.
Pretty common spot from Beautiful here over by the skips, and he is going to see a lot of aggression here from the BRSEK side as 3 members push down this alleyway. The C4 goes off, not able to find anyone, and the smokes are coming out. Sinoza and Mike both using that smoke cover and just putting fire straight down, hoping to hit somebody. Abito got to hide and cover.
Here comes the objective push. Partisan gets rid of Beautiful. The nice flashbang, it seems, and Red Varia has an angle onto the corner, but they've missed Partisan crossing. GDEM may be able to find a refrag. No, it doesn't. And does anyone have eyes on objective is the question here. As Partisan tablet out, they're going to push up. They're going to try and punch in the code here. Another smoke to reinforce. This is going to be BRSEK coming out on another cap win and taking map 3 4-2.
It was very well played by
The BRSEK really, you know, they played that as best they can, and they used their experience against OVL there, who just weren't aware that you could probably cap that close, and they thought they maybe had the cover, and the smokes just reduced that cover. So fantastic play by BRSEK, and it's just a reminiscent of what we've seen from them all night, really. All the plays they have put in and played, they're definitely gold, maybe even the diamond standard.
Really solid effort coming in from BRSEK here today. Great effort from OVL. Love to see him snagging 2 points there on Subway, nearly taking their first lead of regular season, but not quite, as the cap does come through there. And if anything, OVL has learned plenty of ways that they need to enhance their defense to prevent caps coming in here, because I think every map they did get BRSEK did get a cap. And I guess if you're watching and you're going to be going up against BRSEK soon, be ready for the caps, because Partisan is not afraid to push up and go for them. That is very clear, as we have saw them, I think, get a cap every map as well. So again, hats off to BRSEK for playing well. Good job, OVL, coming in as a new team. Jamie, any final thoughts before we sign off?
Like you say, just, you know, fantastic plays by BRSEK there, looking really strong for this season. And OVL, having learned a lot from this season, early on in those rounds, we're getting ahead, and we're definitely finding those picks. So it's going to be really good to see them later down the line.
Also, before we sign off, a quick shout out to the folks that have dropped in and dropped some follows. We do appreciate your support. If you are new here, please do hit that follow button. We have casts regularly on this channel, also on twitch.tv/onward_VRML2 and 3. Go follow those channels as well. If you do have a Twitch Prime subscription or you do want to support us with your own fine dollars, I would encourage you also to subscribe to the channel. That support ends up coming back to us casters and the production team, and we really do appreciate that support. It helps obviously drive us a little bit. So for all the people that have dropped subs, I did see Jab drop a sub an hour ago, so apologies I missed that one. But a ton of new follows as well, and so welcome in all the new folks. We are happy to see you here, and we're going to be happy to see more of you again as we have more games throughout the course of regular season. This is just week 1. More games later today as well, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled on those alternate channels. But that's going to be it for us here. My name's been NightFiree with 2 E's, my co-caster Jamie. We appreciate your support. See you all later today.